After driving hundreds of cars over the last 40 odd years and owning close to 25 of them, I finally bought my first Porsche in late 2022. This 2013 981 Boxster base model with a 2.7 flat six with PDK Sport Chrono and the Porsche Sports exhaust. And like almost every other car that I've owned since I was 18, I immediately set about enhancing it, personalizing it. This video illustrates 3 of the most recent enhancements that together have just about convinced me that this car is now too good to sell, and why you might want to ignore the siren song of new metal begging you to take them home. Out of the factory, the 981 Series Boxsters and Caymans are pretty close to perfect as far as driver's cars go. Many will argue for the manual transmission version of these cars, but after owning and loving 2 Mazda MX-5s, the original NA, which I bought back in 93, and the ND1, which I bought 2018 or 19, something like that, plus an unremarkable MGF earlier on, I'm more than happy with the flexibility of Porsche's fantastic 7-speed PDK transmission, which I always shift manually anyway when I'm pressing on a mountain pass or a coastal road. Now, thanks to one of the coolest guys in the Porsche community, a fellow called William Chen over at Porsche Master, also known as RenmeisterLLC.com, my car has sort of become a rolling showcase of beautifully made products that enhance the car's functionality and appearance. About a year ago, we installed a simple but very elegant rear LED light strip that runs between the 2 tail lights just below the spoiler on my Boxster, and a new steering wheel which really transformed the interior and the feel that you get when you get behind the wheel of the car. And you can find links to those videos just in the description below. About a week ago, I received the latest wheel from William with a completely new internal design and an enhanced exterior aesthetic. And it really is a step up from the already beautiful wheel of about a year ago. The level of finishing on the wheel and the airbag assembly really looks like it came straight out of the Porsche factory. And it really feels like stepping into a brand new car each time I climb aboard my Boxster. William also sent me a set of GTS style rear taillights and a new clear LED strip for the rear of the car that runs between those taillights to match the design of those GTS style taillights. So now I'm going to show you the installation process that I went through to install these, and then we'll have a look at the car with them fitted. We start off with the rubber grommet that covers the bolt that holds the taillight in place on each side. Comes out pretty easily, but might be a little bit hard to get a grip on it to pull it out, so I used a set of pliers to pull it out here, and that's what the bolt looks like. You'll notice the spoiler is up here. That's so you can get better access to the side of the taillight. Put in one trim removal tool up in the top left corner, give it a little jiggle, and then just pull out from both sides. Easy. The spoiler is also up for the installation of the LED strip. Disconnect the taillight socket and Bob's your uncle. That's it. And here's what the new GTS style taillight looks like. Here's the wire coming out of the LED strip. It's a piggyback system, so that plugs into the taillight socket, and then the taillight plugs into the socket provided by that piggyback system. First, I have to remove the old one, so I use a bit of heat from my wife's fancy little hairdryer, lift it a bit with a trim tool, and then just slowly peel the rest of it off. Most of it comes off cleanly. There's a little bit of adhesive rubber glue there. Remove it with my fingers, but then also clean it very thoroughly with Prepsol. Now I'm removing the other tail light. Nice and simple, same method. I'd undone the bolt, bit of trim tool on the top right corner, unplug the tail light cable, and that's it. Now, before I remove the adhesive strip on the bottom of the LED strip, I put a bit of masking tape on the outer edge of the LED strip and on the reverse light on the car just below it. And then when I had the LED strip perfectly centered, I drew a vertical line across the two. Plugging the new taillights in is straightforward. I've got my piggyback from the LED strip already connected to the taillight plug on the car, and then I'll just plug the new taillight in on that. Make sure you line this up properly. There are 2 little slides down the bottom on the body of the car with 2 rubber grommets on the taillight that need to seat in there, and then it just slides straight in. Nice and simple. Plug it in the one on the other side. Here are the 2 little rubber grommets that go into these 2 slides, so they need to be lined up. And there's also one up the top there that goes into the top right corner, or the top left corner on the other side. Once it's seated in, it's very simple and it just slides right in. This is the T30 that I use to undo and do up the one bolt on the side. You can also use a 10mm socket, so you can use either tool on those. Again, Porsche just being Porsche. You can see the angle here that the socket extension sits at, so you get an idea of the angle that you will be undoing and doing up that bolt. Make sure you put the rubber grommet back on, and voila! One thing that's always impressed me when I look at removing something or modifying something on my 981 is the simplicity applied to the design of the car, and not just how it's put together, but how Porsche has thought about providing access to various components and removing or replacing them. Just yesterday, my son and brother-in-law and father-in-law were pulling components off a Mercedes-Benz ML500, the W163 model, sitting in our backyard, that my brother-in-law is pulling parts off for his ML55. And it just showed how little thought goes into access to components of a car by manufacturers when it comes time to replacing them or servicing them, that kind of thing. Porsche, on the other hand, have put a lot of thought into how you access bits and pieces on their cars. And really, to get an idea of just how clever they are and how much thought they put into this, I highly recommend checking out another channel on YouTube by a fellow called Jeff Richardson. Jeff has two 981 Boxsters, one of which he drives and enjoys, and the other one, which I think was a repairable write-off or a write-off of some kind, which he has systematically pulled apart and created a bunch of videos on how to remove, replace, access, service different bits and pieces on the 981 platform. And he goes into quite a bit of detail on a number of his videos on just how much thought has gone into the packaging of these cars. So pulling the taillights off was incredibly simple. It's literally one bolt on each side, and then they just slide out. So couldn't be any easier than that. So with the new LED strip and GTS taillights installed on the car, I reckon the rear looks box fresh again, really betraying its 12-year age. So looking at the car now and being reminded each time I drive it that it really is all the sports car I need. It's hard to imagine ever selling it, especially given that the new 718 platform is going to be all electric. To my eyes, to my bum, and especially to my ears, I reckon it's about as good as a pure driver's car gets. And as someone who's driven cars with a lot more power, right up to my brother-in-law's manic 1,000 horsepower Mark IV Toyota Supra, I honestly don't need more power, especially in Australia with our strict driver laws. The reality is I get a lot more pleasure from the other aspects of sports car ownership than outright acceleration. I mean, if you really want to accelerate fast from a set of traffic lights, well then you're probably better off with an electric car. But you'll never get that visceral, immersive sensation of controlling an internal combustion engined sports car that is built with the driver in mind, like the Porsche Boxsters, Caymans, 911s. I think of the relationship with a sports car a bit like a marriage. The real rewards come through experiences together, through building a life together and emerging from its challenges together. The reality is the new hotness probably won't give you that. So if you own an early series Boxster or Cayman or 911, instead of lusting after the new model, consider adding a couple of well-chosen components to freshen up the car that you've already built a relationship with. Because after all the time that you've spent creating memories together, it would really be a shame to throw all that away because a younger model has turned your eye. Anyway, for more musings on car and landscape photography and life in your 50s and beyond, subscribe to my occasional newsletter. It's called One More Thing, and you'll find a link to that in the description below. For a couple more videos that might interest you, just check these out. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye for now.